Hello YouTube and welcome to Tyler Totten Live. I'm your host Tyler Totten, and alongside me is my chief analyst Travis Totten, and I think he has something he'd like to get off of his chest.
Yes, I do, Tyler. Okay. And viewers, can you see this car right here? It's a pretty sweet car, you would think. But actually, this is how Harvick's cars have looked the past few years. You got the splitter or the spoiler here. It's just gone. The splitter here, it's broken too. And that's how Harvick has acted, how his cars have been the past few years. But now, his cars are beginning to look a bit like this. We got confetti on it here. This is a winning car. And that's what he's doing this year. He's already got his win at Talladega, consistently in the top 10. I'm a much happier man this year than I have been the past few years.
All right. Last week we went to Dover and Kyle Busch got the weekend sweep, got his second win of the season and his 18th career win. Joe Gibbs Racing has won 5 of the last 7 races, 3 in a row, and they all finished in the top 10 last week. Do you think that they have caught up to Hendrick Motorsports and they put them a lap down like Mr. Hendrick said in an interview last week?
Well, I don't know if they've trapped the whole Hendrick Motorsports. Gordon's doing pretty well. He hasn't had wins, but he is consistently there. Jimmy this year, he's just not performing up to our standards for him. Now, if you look at another driver, then and that happens, it's like, oh, that's right. But for Jimmy, his standards are so high. What's happening to him now isn't Jimmy like. Joe Gibbs is having a great year this year though. But it's all came more down, I think, to the spoiler instead of the wing. That's getting the Hendrick behind because they were so good with the wing, and now they're having to try new setups, and I don't think they can jump on that yet.
All right. And do you think that it'll be Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch battling for the championship this year instead of Hendrick Motorsports teammates?
Yeah, they'll be up there, but we probably have to sprinkle in a Richard Childress driver and maybe throw Jeff Gordon in there. But yeah, they'll be 2 of the main contenders.
All right. And how many wins do you think Joe Gibbs Racing will get this year, and how many races will it be until Joey Logano gets his first win this year?
Well, as a whole, I think they'll end up with about 11 as a team this year, and I think Joey's going to get it done at the Coke 600 in a couple weeks.
What happened to our pole sitter, Martin Truex Jr.? He sat on the pole. He surprised everyone by being pretty good in practice, but then he didn't even lead the first lap, and he didn't lead any laps.
Well, I think after their run in qualifying, they got a little overconfident in their setup, and then so they didn't really adjust anything for the race, and I think that got them behind because other teams knew to adjust. And, I mean, it's a young team. The 56, Mike Walter's been around for a couple years now, but the 56 is still a young team, and I just don't think the crew knew what was going to happen with the track.
Maybe they didn't have the know-how.
Maybe not.
And my last question, what happened to Jimmy Johnson? What is happening to him? He's wrecked 2 times in the past 6 races, and he's just not performing well. He finished 16th last week, and that's out of the top 15, which is very unusual for Jimmy Johnson.
Well, if you watched the pre-race coverage on NASCAR on Fox, you heard Darrell Waltrip ask if Jimmy had heard a clank behind him anytime recently, and that was referring back to a comment that Kevin Harvick had said earlier at California, saying that Jimmy Johnson and his team had a golden horseshoe stuck up a certain part of their body. And so I actually think that horseshoe has fallen out, and it looks like Joe Gibbs has picked it up.
All right. We'll be back with more Tyler Totten Live right after this. Stay tuned. Breast cancer is a terrible disease, but it affects thousands and thousands of men and women each and every year. Susan G. Komen for the Cure is dedicated to helping all of those thousands and thousands of men and women. You can help them too. By a small donation of $5, you can help each and every one of them. Go to www.komen.org for more information, or to make a donation today.
Okay, yeah, 5.
Hello YouTube and welcome back to Tyler Totten Live. I'm your host Tyler Totten, And this is All-Star Week. This Wednesday we have the All-Star Pit Crew Challenge. And then Saturday we have the All-Star Race. And we all remember last year that Tony Stewart won his first All-Star Race and got the $1 million for his brand new team. Jimmy Johnson and Casey Kane are very good at Charlotte, so do you see them as contenders for this race?
No. To be quite honest, no. I think Jimmy's more focused on getting his points racing back in where it should be. And so I don't think it's going to happen for him. And Casey, he won it a couple of years ago on the fan vote, and I just don't see him getting it this year. I think we're going to see we'll see Jeff Burton, Jeff Gordon, and maybe Kevin Harvick up in the front. I don't know, but it'll probably be one of those three that get in.
All right, and so do you think that RCR is going to do well in this race? Or do you think that Joe Gibbs Racing and Stewart Haas Racing is going to take the checkered flag and the $1 million again?
Joe Gibbs and Stewart Haas, I don't think so. Kyle, he was up front last year, but it didn't pan out for him. And of course Tony did win last year, but this year's not looking so hot for him. He just got another top 10 last week, but the rest of the year hasn't looked too hot for him. So I think it does come down to RCR and maybe a couple Hendrick cars.
All right, and can you let the viewers know what the All-Star Race format is?
Okay, what we got is it's divided into 4 segments. It's 100 laps in total, and the first segment is 50 laps, and they have a mandatory 4-tire pit stop on lap 25. The caution will come out after lap 50 to give them a chance to settle down, and they have an optional pit stop. They can go in, they don't have to. Segment 2 is 20 laps, and it's just 20 laps, that's it. And they can do a pit stop at the end, but there's no mandatory ones. Segment 3, it's just another 20-lap segment, but there's a 10-minute break after it, and they can do normal adjustments on a car like during a pit stop, but they can't make major adjustments to the car. And right before segment 4 starts, every team has to come in and do a 4-tire pit stop, and then they're going to have a 10-lap shootout with only green flag laps counting. So if there's a caution, they'll just ride around, but no laps will go away, and then only the green flag laps will count. So we'll get 10 full green laps in.
All right. Then right before the All-Star Race, they'll have the Open, where the top 2 drivers will race their way into the All-Star Race and have the chance for the $1 million. But you can also go to NASCAR.com and have the fan vote for one driver that will get into the race. And who do you predict the fan vote will be?
I don't know, because I'm not sure who's locked in and who isn't. I know you're leaning more towards Jeff Burton. That's who you'd like to see him, but I don't think he's going to need the fan vote. I think he'll race his way in during the Open, but I really don't know. Yeah.
Jeff Burton finished second last week, and I think he's going to carry that momentum and race himself into the All-Star Race. All right, we'll be right back with more Tyler Totten Live right after this. Whenever I get done filming a great episode of Tyler Totten Live, I like to play basketball with my friends. And when I do play basketball, I use a Nike basketball.
Man.
Nike. Just do it.
During the